Greetings, listeners. Welcome to Consulting Between Friends. I am your host, Michael Holmes Jr. Everyone develops a talent or multiple skills. The talents can be extraordinary, unique, and out of the ordinary. For example, someone who is very flexible with their body, a musician who is able to multitask the ability to play an instrument. The Guinness World Record has been around for multiple generations. This allows individuals to express their talents to a wider audience. The Guinness World Records has a story on how it became what we know today. The Guinness World Records idea began in 1951 by Sir Hugh Beaver as a way to settle friendly disagreements in British pubs. The book was designed to have facts that can be enjoyed by individuals and given away for free. The people who are responsible for providing the points for the book are two brothers by the name of Norris and Ross McWhirter. The book was a success, so an American edition was created in 1956. After the American edition of Guinness, other books was created in other countries to continue this fantastic phenomenon. The world of Guinness has evolved over time and millions of individuals grew to love it. Guinness World Records has introduced the world to opportunities that individuals can participate in. The Guinness World Records has showed individuals that you can push yourself to achieve anything you dream of. It is also essential to have fun while achieving your goal for Guinness because it's a way to enjoy what life has to offer everyone. Here are some examples of Guinness World Records: eating contests, memorabilia collections, the longest fingernails, juggling contests, weightlifting contests, and the biggest hairstyle. In this episode, I'll be interviewing a person who got chosen to be in the Guinness World Records. This person is Ava Dugas, and she has the largest female afro. Ava will discuss her journey on how she was chosen to be in the Guinness World Records and why natural hairstyles are essential to her. Also, she will give advice to someone who wants to be in the Guinness World Records. The topic is Guinness World Record holder Ava Dugas. We will return after a message from our sponsor. Everyone is always planning things, and advertising is needed to make it happen. So, if it's personal or business, let Pinpoint Designs and Images solve that problem. With Pinpoint Designs and Images LLC, you will receive quality work and professional service at a great price. The service that is offered: flyers, business cards, programs, invitations, photo books, ad booklets, and much more. Michael Holmes Jr., owner/principal designer of Pinpoint Designs and Images LLC, contact me by email or social media. Email address is pinpointdesignsandImages@gmail.com, and Instagram Pinpoint Designs, and Facebook Pinpoint Designs and Images. We are back. Before the interview begins, I want to give you a little background on Ava Dugas. Ava Dugas was chosen to be in the Guinness World Record for having the largest female afro. Ava was born in Thibodaux, Louisiana, and was raised in Napoleonville, Louisiana. Napoleonville, Louisiana is a small town 70 miles north of New Orleans, Louisiana. Ava is the creator and founder of Chemistry Hair Care. As an international influencer and rising entrepreneur, Ava has an amazing personality that everyone would enjoy. Since Ava's achievement in the Guinness World Records, she has appeared in multiple television and media appearances such as TheRoot.com, TheGuardian.com, US Today, The Daily Mail, Black Enterprise, The Hill, BBC, First News in the UK, former Doctors TV show, ABC, CBS, and NBC affiliates channels, and many other online media outlets. Ava's passion is promoting self love and natural hair to her online followers with tips as well as hair care regimens. Ava is on a mission to share her products with the world from all textures while promoting self love, motivation, and confidence, one strand at a time. My guest is Aevin Dugas. Now,
Mhm.
welcome to Consulting Between Friends podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Michael.
Thank you. How was your day?
My day was good. It was busy, and I'm just glad to finally get to talk to you because we've been going back and forth for a minute.
Yes, we have. I will look forward to this interview, and I know
Mhm.
my listeners as well.
Let's go.
Can you explain your background?
I was born, well, I'm from Napoleonville, Louisiana. I was born in Thibodeau, raised in Napoleonville, Louisiana. I am 47, and I'm the Guinness World Record holder of the largest Afro. It used to be female Afro, but now it's just Afro in general.
Oh, okay. That's really interesting.
Mhm.
Um, I also went on your website and I realized that you also are entrepreneur. Do you mind explaining that a little bit as well?
Yes. So it's called Kim Hairstry. And it is a company I make for now I make butters and I'm working on some other products as well because of course it's more than just, butters for your hair, but right now I have merchandise on there. I have t-shirts, I have satin line caps, afro picks because that's something that I've collected all for a long time now. So I have some
Hmm.
customized afro picks, some detangling brushes, traveling bags for your accessories. So little stuff like that. And it was one of those things that it took me a long time before I got to where I wanted to make products because I didn't want it to be about me selling stuff to people. I wanted it to be more of me getting a message to people regarding natural hair. But because
Hmm.
I've always made stuff for myself, for years, people have been telling me, why don't you share it? Why don't you sell it? And I was like, no, I just wanted the message to be heard. But I decided during COVID, why not? And that's how it came about.
Yes. That sounds really good. I like how you decide to go into your own products as well, because selling your
Thank
own stuff is really important.
Yeah, and yeah, I was just trying to go for the message, but I'm like, you know what? There's nothing wrong with selling your products. You're fine. So I can do both. I'll do a little bit of everything.
Hmm. Yes.
Mm.
Well, we're about to start the interview.
Okay, let's go. Mhm.
How did you get chosen to be in the Guinness World Records?
Well, what had happened was my sister told this story so many times. My sister put up a picture on Facebook. It was not a picture that I gave her permission to put up because this was years ago. So I used to be like, "Let me see the picture before post it so I can make sure I look good." She randomly posted a picture. I actually had my hair in a puff that night. We had went out in Baton Rouge, and I didn't the puff was too tight, so I took it a loose and just picked it out. And she took a picture of me that night, and a friend of mine commented, you should try out for the world's largest afro, Guinness World Records largest afro. I knew what
Mhm.
Guinness was, of course, because as I've said recently, When I was young, I would go and look in the book for the longest hair, the skinniest waist, the longest nails, but I had never heard about an Afro one. And so when I went to put my pictures on this website, because I was like, okay, I'll try it, I found out it was their first time doing it.
Mm.
So I kind of tripped up into it. Most people think I went natural to end up in the book. Absolutely not. I went natural because I didn't want chemicals in my hair anymore. I just happened to end up in Guinness World Records.
Oh, that's really interesting. So you got into it really by accident. You wasn't like a
Definitely
goal of yours.
no. People think I'm like, no, I did not grow my hair. No, I went natural years before that because I just didn't. I woke up one morning and was like, why am I putting chemicals to permanently straighten my hair? And it took me a couple of years before I actually let go of the chemicals. But I went natural because I didn't want the chemicals anymore, which I'm glad I did because now they have lawsuits for people with those perms that have caused cancer. So I'm glad I got out a long time ago.
Yes. So what
Mhm.
made so how long you been having natural hair?
I've been natural. I'm going to say 24 years. And I only say 24 because, again, when I went natural, people weren't taking selfies. There was no Instagram. There was no Facebook. I
Hmm.
literally just decided when I wasn't getting a perm. When I cut my hair off, I remember seeing one picture of me where my hair was super short. And it was an ugly
Hmm.
picture. It was they off guard pictures. But I didn't have pictures of my hair. Well, I probably do. I found a bag of camera roll, camera film, because back
Yes.
then we had the away
Hmm.
cameras, a bag
Yes.
of them. So I'm like, I probably got pictures on there. I just haven't gotten them developed. But I'm gonna go with 24 years ago, maybe 25, but definitely 24.
Hmm. Well, that's really
Hmm.
good. And then since you also went natural, I know you could tell the difference in your head overall, correct?
Yeah, definitely. Once I cut the perm part off, it was like, flowers growing that finally started to blossom. And it was
Hmm.
just something totally different from what I was used to. And it only took a minute before I was like in love. Like at first I was like, okay, I don't know what to do. But within like a few weeks, really, I was in love. So,
Oh, that's really good.
mhm.
How long have you been growing your hair, and what was your process to get the length of your hair?
Okay. So as I said, I'm thinking about 24 years since I went natural because people
Mhm,
also have the misconception that, well, her afro should be bigger because it's 24 years old.
mhm,
No, because I have trimmed my hair. I have gotten little cuts here and there. I've had mishaps where my hair, I've damaged it and stuff like that just because those things happen. So as far as how long, it's been 24 years since I've been natural, growing my hair natural. As far as growing my afro, there's no such thing for me as growing my afro because I just take care of my hair and my
mhm,
afro is the land, that's just the little extra style. That's just one style that I can do with my natural hair. So it's not like
mhm.
I seek to grow my afro. People are like, how long it takes to grow your afro. I didn't grow an afro as much as I grew natural hair. And as far as what was the second question?
The other part of the question is, what was your process to get the length of your hair?
The process was just taking care of my hair really, and if I did a style that I saw, because I have run into hairstyles over the years that did not work for my hair, that caused my hair, they damaged my hair, I just didn't do them anymore. So
Mhm,
basically just taking care of my hair. um I'm not I don't get any braids or anything like that, but I do braid my own hair.
mhm,
um Honestly, I think maybe keeping my hand, not having too many people's hands in your head, as they like to say, don't have too many people with their hands in your head. I do my hair myself, except for getting it trimmed. And I
mhm.
found someone who I trust who can trim it because before that I used to trim it myself. But I don't have professional shears like someone at a salon does. But for
Yes.
the I do my own hair myself. I even color my own hair.
Oh, that's really interesting. So, what are
Mhm.
some of the styles you like having your own hair as?
A bun. A bun is my I, y'all may not like it, but I love a bun. I like it to the top. I like it to the back, bottom. I like it kind of to the back, to the side. I love a bun. I love twists, the two-strand twists.
Mhm.
I love two French braids. I love, as I like to call them, my Sealy plaits, where it's just a bunch of plaits all over my head.
Mhm.
Anything honestly where it's not too out. It's not that I don't like my hair out. I love my hair out, but I know when my hair is worn out, when it's time to wash it and detangle it, some breakage is going to occur. So
Mhm.
again, those are the things that I try not to do often because I know that kind of stuff over time, if you wear it like that all the time, it can damage it. The only style I can say that I do like that doesn't damage my hair and I wear it out is a wash and go. The only reason
Mhm.
I don't do that all the time is because my hair has gotten so thicker than what it used to be. I
Mhm.
have to use a product. Sometimes I just don't want to do that.
That makes sense. And since you
Hmm.
also did say you like your bun, I like it on you right now as well.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's just easy the way.
Mhm. What did you find interesting about yourself with this big accomplishment overall?
I think the thing I found most interesting about myself that I was able to go on camera and not pass out because even though when I was young, I used to dance, tap, jazz, and ballet. So I've been in front of audiences before, but we're
Mhm.
talking about not since like high school. So for me to be able to just go end up, on television and talk to people and do these interviews and hold
Mhm.
it together, that for me was an accomplishment because that is not easy.
Yes.
And I've learned to, because I try to be, I'm always as humble as possible, but also just learning to like everything that happens with me, I have not let it go over, like get to my head and make me feel like I'm better than anybody. I don't feel like my hair is prettier than anybody's. I don't feel like I'm the queen of, like, people be like, oh, you're the queen of afros. I'm like, no, we're all the queen of afros. So honestly, just keep, honestly, sorry, just keeping a level head,
Mhm.
because I think in life you should always remain, don't humble yourself too much, but to remain humble and to keep a level head with all of this. I'm proud of myself for it because I've watched some people who they just get a little, light in their face and they just go crazy with it. And I
Mhm.
just pray that I always remain humble, not too humble to where I'm behind the curtain and, I keep my talent away from people, but humble enough to where, I can always just be somebody who's approachable and that people can listen to, not think, oh, she's just doing too much,
Mhm. Oh,
Mhm.
that makes a lot of sense, and it's good to be humble. Because some
Yeah,
people, when they do become famous, it goes to their head, and then it's like they don't know what
right.
else to do.
Right. And it's like, and I don't even consider this, like, some people, kind of like use the word celebrity. And I'm like, I don't like to use that word because when I look at celebrities, a lot of them have lost their mind. So, you know, and it's a lot because I couldn't imagine this little thing I have, that's nothing. When you look at major celebrities, it's a lot. So,
Mhm.
to deal with that on a daily basis is crazy. But also, I see people, they go from like this humble, really nice, approachable person to like, you can't talk to me. And I never want
Mhm.
to be them,
Mm.
because at the end of the day, I still want my message to be heard about self love and loving yourself from inside out.
Yes.
Hmm.
Oh, well, since you has mentioned being on television, what
Hmm.
was your first appearance on television?
My first appearance on TV was in London
Mm.
on a TV show that was like a Good Morning America.
Mhm.
It was the UK version. So that was the first one. I had done some interviews like the day before, and
Mhm.
they were all these different parts of the world. So I did all of these interviews with all these different people. But then the next day I had to go on TV, and that was in London on a show, kind of like Good Morning America. And then from there I went to do BBC, which was
Mhm.
crazy because you watch stuff like BBC and it's like they come and they're like, BBC wants her to come. And I'm like, you want me to go? Like, come and do what? I had to go and talk, and I was nervous. Okay, but
Uh-huh.
good. And from there I was just, and ever since then I've been able to, go on and just do what I have to do.
Mhm. Well,
Hmm.
that's good. I do like you get to tell your own story because telling
Hmm.
your own story is really important. So other people
Yeah,
telling their story about you.
yeah, Yes. Yeah, because even when I first came out on Guinness, I remember, matter of fact, when they introduced me on the show, they were like, a 36-year-old social worker from New Orleans. I was 35, I had not turned 36 yet. I was not a social worker. I told them I work in a community group home for women with
Hmm.
developmental disabilities. And I told them I was from a town about an hour and a half from New Orleans. So when they, I'm sitting there like, that's not me. And so for to say I was from Napoleonville, Louisiana. And the thing was, I never not said I wasn't from Napoleonville. I said I was from Napoleonville. And when they asked, I said, oh, it's like an hour and a half from New Orleans. But I understand now when they're trying to get that relatability to
Hmm.
saying Napoleonville, nobody's going to know where that is.
Yeah.
Whereas New Orleans, people know where that is. So I understand. But now I make sure to always say where I'm from because I
Hmm.
want people to from. I don't want to, I'm not hiding it.
Yeah. Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But that is true. Like when you're from a small town and there's a big city around it,
Mm-hmm.
it's hard for people to like say like, oh, that's where you're really from, because they're gonna
Right.
socialize the big city instead of the small city.
Right. Exactly. So, but now I make sure to always say I'm from Napoleonville, Louisiana. So, and if people don't know where that is, I always tell them the movie Eve's Bayou. A lot of
Hmm.
it was Napoleonville, Louisiana. Beyonce's Lemonade, she filmed that across the bayou at a plantation in Napoleonville, Louisiana. So that's where I'm from.
Oh, I didn't even know that. I
Mhm.
like both of them. East Bayou, I love East Bayou,
All
and
right.
also, and then Beyonce as well.
Well, that's from. I'm literally a country girl for real, for real.
So since you say you're a country girl, what
Mhm.
do you enjoy doing in the country? Since you said that.
Now, this is the funny thing. I'm a country girl, like born and raised.
Hmm.
I love bugs. I used when I was little, I like being outside. But as I got
Hmm.
older, for some reason, the fear of bugs took over.
Hmm.
So, what I like about the country, I always say this: God forbid if something happened and I had nowhere to sleep, no one's gonna
Hmm.
let me die. There's gonna be somebody who's gonna make sure I'm fed and I have somewhere to sleep. That's what I love
Hmm.
about home. You know,
Hmm.
as far as like, I haven't been fishing since I was little. I
Hmm.
used to crawfish in the ditch. That was fun. Me and my family to catch crawfish out the ditch.
Hmm.
Um, it, the crawfish boils, of course, but that's anywhere in Louisiana. Fish fries,
Yeah.
stuff that church fairs where they're selling cracklings and stuff afterwards, stuff like that. But for the most part, anywhere I go, even if I'm in the city, I just don't like being outside because I don't like the heat and I don't like bugs. So I'm a country girl. Mama says my sister and I are city country girls. She's like, y'all are the cityest country girls I've ever known. So yeah, I don't like bugs at all.
That's really interesting. One other
Yeah,
thing about the country is, so what keeps you humble overall?
God and my family,
Hmm.
point blank, period. Hmm.
Well, that's good. That makes a lot of sense as well.
Hmm.
What is your overall personality in front of other people when they find you fascinating with your hairstyle?
The same as I am right now. I'm going to be very talkative. I'm always going to, if you have any questions about my hair, I'm going to answer them, long as you don't touch it. Because
Mhm.
I tried in the beginning trying to, because even people of my own race were curious.
Mhm.
Well, how
Mhm.
is it heavy? Is it this? Is it that? So I was trying to be nice. And when I say trying to be nice, I could probably count the times on both hands that I let it happen before I was like, you know what, just don't even worry about it. And that was
Mhm.
because of people pulling it. Because a lot of times I think what they were doing is when they'd say, "Can I touch your hair?" What they meant was, "Can I check and see if it's real?" And I don't care if I do have a wig and it's sitting lopsided on my head. If I tell you it's my hair, then you have to go with that, and it's not your business to go and pull it. But my personality is the same across the board, unless you're offensive, and then it's
Mhm.
something to that I don't show on social media. I stopped a few people though for touching it without my permission. So
That makes a lot of sense as well. So you have had some incidents that went wrong with some people
mhm.
touching your hair.
Yeah, and I went a little rogue on them. You can't just go and pull on my hair, or they go to touch it, and I have to do the matrix thing, like whoa, because they just come out the blue, and if your hair's right here in your face, I
Hmm.
don't see it a lot of times until they're up on me.
Hmm.
A matter of fact, I had one old lady. It was at Bayou Classic, in New
Hmm.
Orleans. We were at the Superdome, and she was like, "Is that your hair?" I said, "Yes, ma'am." "Can I touch it?" "Yes, ma'am." And she just yanked it hard. I just started yelling at her because I was like, why would you do that? Like, why
Hmm.
did you pull my hair? What's wrong with you? And she was like, I'm sorry. So her daughter was like, oh, she's sorry. She's sorry. So she was like, Mom, you can't do that. And I heard the old lady whisper something to her. And her daughter was like, oh, you was just trying to see if it was real, huh? So they started giggling. I'm like, now y'all giggling, but when I throw this Coca-Cola at y'all, y'all not gonna be laughing because it hurt. She did pull my
Yeah.
hair. But yeah, my personality is the same either way it goes.
Well, that's good that your personality stays the same, even
Yes.
though this situation you have got yourself into, which is a really good thing. And it also has opened doors for you as well. So, since I
Mhm.
did say open doors for you, what's some doors it has opened for you overall?
Honestly, even stuff like talking to you, getting to communicate with any and everybody, which for
Mhm.
me is a big thing because I just like the fact of talking about, the whole natural hair thing for so long was just looked at as it wasn't so much like, oh, people were going after natural hair as much as
Mhm.
you just get represented at all. So I like the
Mhm.
fact that have all of these platforms to talk to all of these people from sitting here talking to you to going on BBC or ABC, whatever, and giving any and everybody from every race an explanation of why our hair is beautiful, why we wear our hair like this, so people can calm down and not think this is something about. It's almost like they make it about themselves when it's like we're being anti everything else because we want to wear our natural hair. That's making it about you. This is not about you. This is about us loving us loving
Mhm.
our own. So for me, that's always been my biggest thing. So that's the door that is open for me and you and anybody else to discuss why we love our natural hair. It has nothing to do with anybody else or trying to prove to any other race what we're doing or who we are. Even in the
Mhm.
70s, trying to prove what they're doing and who they were. They were just trying to wear their natural hair. This is not
Mhm.
about you, about us. It's about us loving us. Leave that alone. So that's the door says open conversation to talk to any and everybody.
Oh, that's really good. Well, since you did say about natural hair, why you think it's been like some why you think it's been like mostly a problem or a controversy around other people and different races?
Honestly, I'm gonna be honest. You know why? I think because, well, first of all, a lot of times we were so used to not seeing it that even we weren't comfortable with wearing it. Even when it was okay for us to wear our natural hair, we just didn't even want to show our natural hair. And even now, a lot of us don't want to show our natural hair.
Mhm.
But I don't know. That's one of those I just rather not even get into. But it's one of
It's
those things
okay.
where
It's totally fine.
yeah, yeah. I think it kind of it started outside of us. And then unfortunately, it was ingrained in us. And
Mhm.
now us as the people are rerouting ourselves to where it's like, oh no, we love our natural hair. But my thing is, even we're still getting comfortable with it. So with that, we do have to give just a little bit of lenience because if we're still trying to figure out, if so many people are still trying to go natural and figure out their hair and don't want to wear it in certain styles, then you can't expect everybody else to just be like 100% like, oh, this is great. So we're trying to, again, without making it about them, we're just trying to get people to understand, look, basically, I'm going through some things right now. I'm trying to figure some things out and love on me. And at the
Mhm.
end of the day, everybody's just going to have to fine with that.
Yes, that is true. Everybody should have the ability to wear their hair however they choose to.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. Especially when it's in its natural form.
Yeah.
Like,
Mhm. Yeah. That's why the Crown Act was created.
right. Which the Crown Act is awesome that, it was passed and whatnot.
Mhm.
But for me, I'm just like a thank you, but because it shouldn't even have been a thing.
Yeah, that's true.
We don't
Mhm.
see anybody else having to deal with how they wear their hair naturally.
Mhm.
nice nasty for me. You know, I'm happy that it's passed because, I'm blessed enough that I work in a family business. So my hair has never been an issue. Even if I wore it out big, it's never been an issue. But I feel so bad that people all these years and still are going through things because of their hair,
Hmm.
and only one race. Nobody else is getting bothered with that,
Yeah.
so it's like, thank you, I guess. Thank you for wearing my hair natural in its own natural state, I guess. You
Hmm.
know,
Yeah.
don't expect flowers from me. That's all I'm saying. Like, okay.
What were some of the situations you ran into with your hair?
Situations like, um, of course, it getting caught on things. If I'm walking and there's trees that are low, I have to, lean sideways. I've learned over the years, you can't just walk straight. If your hair is out, like if it's in a puff or even like this, when I
Hmm.
get into my car, I bought a new car last year, and I used to drive like a Honda Element, so it had a high, roof. I could just get
Yeah.
in that with no. Now my car sits low, so I have to do a snake to get into the car. The car. So that's probably my biggest one now. I'm like, I got in it the other day and I was like, this is so disrespectful. So I had to make the seat go down because the bun was touching the top of the car. My sister, of course, because she's a prankster, she used to like to throw things in it and make, just little bad little sister things. But it wasn't anything that was like disrespectful, just little sister things. But
Hmm.
it getting caught on stuff, slamming the car door if it's out.
Hmm.
I've got the car door. But again, I'm not the only person with this kind of thing. I'm thinking if you ask anybody with big hair, they're gonna say the same thing. You
Hmm.
might go home, wash it, and didn't know you had a leaf in it or something. And it's like, well, how, like how many days has this leaf been in my head? Because it just comes out, it just gets caught up in there. So little
Hmm.
stuff like that.
Hmm. Well, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
If someone wants to get into the Guinness World Records, what advice can you offer them?
Um, Follow their rules. Do not try and think you're going to get over on them because they're very strict when it comes to measuring and whatnot. And have fun,
Mhm.
because Guinness has always been a fun book.
Yes.
Um, Always, that book has always been really fun. So, like, I went to Rome years ago and did a Guinness show, and I'm looking, and they just had all these different people who can, like, they had these women who could pick up the back of a car. They had this one guy who could scale a building with one arm. Just all kind of stuff. So just have fun. Make sure you're completely and 100% honest when doing your measurements and follow their rules. That's about it.
Mm. Well, that makes a lot of sense and it's short and to the point.
Pretty much.
Okay, these other questions that I have that I'm going to ask you,
Mhm.
since I'm a guy, I don't know too much about hair. So I decided to reach out to women I know. Then they had
Okay.
questions. So I decided to
Okay.
take the interview this way.
Okay.
What is your daily routine for everyday wear?
Honestly, my daily routine for everyday wear depends on the style. And most times, because it's in a bun or because it's in twists or a French braid, I just take my scarf off and that's it. Because I tie it down at night with a silk scarf. So I don't
Mhm.
have like a daily routine. Like even when my hair's in a wash and go, I just tie it up, put a bonnet over it, take it out and shake it in the morning. So I don't, like, some people will spritz their curls and whatnot. I don't have any of those things going on. Normally I do my hair in a style, especially during the week, that
Mhm.
I don't have to mess with it. And I think that's one of the things that keeps it healthy. I know that's one of the things that keeps it healthy because I'm not manipulating it. Therefore, I'm not risking any breakage. Like right
Mhm.
now, it's
Mhm.
nothing's being tangled, so there is no detangling. And from here, I'm just gonna take it down and wash it, and it'll barely be tangled because it just sat here all this time.
Mhm.
So really and truly, my daily routine is just taking a scarf off and going about my business.
I like that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. What are your favorite go-to products to use in your hair, morning and night?
Again, because my hair is already styled, I don't have to like I don't really have go-to products as far as styling my hair. I use my hair butter and then I use a gel. And lately I've been going in between gels because I'm trying to learn how to make gel. I probably
Mm,
just need to find make it for me. But pretty much making stuff at my house and trying it out. And then if I don't like it, then just grabbing a gel. I don't have necessarily a favorite as much as this is what I'm using right now until I can get something that comes from me that doesn't do certain things like form a white cast on your hair or makes your hair too crunchy or makes your hair feel dried out when you wash it. So right now I'm just teetering until I get all of those things together from me because I'm really trying to make it as easy as possible for people when it comes to styling their hair to where products
mm.
don't do all the things that you run into with issues with products these days.
That makes a lot of sense. Well, since you did say your own product that you do use your butter, so what is your name of your company or your hair company?
Kim Hair Street hair care. And
Okay,
it's
so what
pronounced
type
it's oh I'm sorry, go ahead.
what type of products did you offer right now?
Right now, I have two hair butters that I use for twisting, greasing my scalp, and hot oil treatments. I'm
Hmm.
currently waiting stock, but there is one thing that I'm waiting on to make my batches because ever since COVID, it was hard for me to find this particular thing. But right now,
Hmm.
I have the two, but I'm also working on a gel and then, of course, shampoo, conditioner, deep conditioner, just things that help to detangle the hair, help to nourish the hair as much as possible, and
Hmm.
just make the whole styling process easier because I feel like for some people or for a lot of women, that's what deters them from going natural because sometimes it can be tedious if you don't have the right products. And I know
Hmm.
every product, my products may not necessarily work for every single person, but I'm going to try my hardest to figure out something that helps, and especially with the tighter textures, the kinky coilier textures, because normally they have, or I'm gonna say we, because my hair is like the kinky coily texture. We
Hmm.
have the most problems because it's so the curls are so tight that it takes a lot more to detangle them compared to curls that are this big. We have, so if you got
Hmm.
this lock instead of this, trying to detangle this takes a little bit more time.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
it's something that easier for us, so we can go on about our day.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and that is true. You don't want to keep fighting with your hair all the time.
Right, right, right. And it's one of those things once you, and also technique, showing people techniques to make it as simple as possible because my hair does not take as long as what people think.
Hmm.
This, washing from shampooing, conditioning, detangling, and styling this took less than an hour.
Hmm.
And before this, then a twist out. So, people think it takes forever. It really doesn't. It's just your technique and whatnot. Actually, I'm looking to collab with somebody, a stylist from home, to do like a class, which I've never done before, and I always wanted to do it,
Hmm.
to show people how to style their hair and make it as easy as possible for them.
Oh, that's good. Whenever you do that, I know people are going to appreciate that, and you're going to
I hope
enjoy showing other people as well.
I can't wait.
Well, since you did say your own products and your own business, what made you decide to get into the hair business overall?
As I said, I wasn't trying to. I was more trying to push the message for
Hmm.
years. I just wanted the message to be out there, but because I made my own stuff anyway, I was always in the kitchen making something to put in my hair. Not necessarily food, but just in the kitchen whipping up stuff. People for years are like, well, why don't you sell that? And I'm like, no. And it wasn't a gatekeeping thing because I see that's the word gatekeeping. It never was a gatekeeping thing. It was just that I just didn't want to, you know, sell stuff. I just wasn't trying to be like, okay, I got the biggest afro now I'm trying to sell you this. But after years, it just made sense. Like, come on, like why not put products out there, especially if they're coming from your heart, and you're trying to
Hmm.
make it natural. Because I do prefer more natural ways of things. Of course, there's some things I do that are natural products, but for the most part, I like natural stuff for hair, body, mind, soul. So why not?
That's really true. That makes a lot of sense. And these days, how stuff is in the world, and
Right.
So natural, it seemed like it's the best thing to do.
It is. And even that is hard, because you still have to buy stuff from other places and you can only trust that what they're telling you is the truth, you know? So I just pray when I make stuff that look, it's supposed to be organic because I'm funny about that kind of stuff. I just feel like people tell you stuff is organic, but then it's like, is it really? Now, I know for me, everything I get, is organic. But I'm looking
Mhm,
at the people who sell it to me like, you better not be lying. I promise you better not be lying. But I'm doing my best to, source from, where it should be coming from, because the last thing we need is for, our hair, like the perms and stuff, to
mhm,
cause you cancer. Like if you're going to get, that kind of situation, the last thing you want it to come from is styling your hair.
yeah, mhm,
Yeah.
that is true. You don't want to get an illness from just styling your own hair.
Right. Just styling your hair. Right.
Mhm,
That's what another one less thing to worry about. So you can go on about your day.
mhm. Okay, I know you wear your hair, I know you wear your hair, natural, but
Mhm.
in some cases, other people don't do it or just not doing it. So this question is going to be about straightening.
Mhm.
So the question is, anything to recommend to someone wanting to straighten their hair?
Shampoo your hair very well. I would suggest using a clarifying shampoo or some kind of detox shampoo first a couple of times, just so you remove all the product off your hair. And then follow with like a moisturizing shampoo or something, or even like a sleek shampoo. Just something to help with coating your cuticles and whatnot. So, and something that can get in your hair, maybe something with care. No, I'm not going to say keratin because some people may not like that as far as putting that on their hair, even though it's fine. I use it all the time. But shampoo your hair really good with a clarifying shampoo, then follow with a really good shampoo and conditioner of your choice. And always, always, always use a heat protectant. Use a heat protectant to blow it out and use a heat protectant to press it out. I'm pressing my hair in a couple of days.
Mhm,
So look, people like, I don't believe in pressing hair. I do. Because it's a style. It's not that's not saying I don't want to be black. That's just another hairstyle. I
mhm,
like straight hair. I just did not want it permanently straightened to make other people comfortable because I felt at the end of the day, me relaxing my hair was to help other people relax themselves. That's
mhm,
not my problem to help you to feel good. This was about me. So again, I don't mind wearing straight hair. That's a hairstyle. It was the permanent hairstyle problem that I had a problem. I mean, hairstyle that I had a problem with.
mhm.
But definitely heat protectant. Oh, and use a heat protectant that if you're gonna press your hair at 450, which please don't press your hair at 450, but if you're gonna go that high, make sure your heat protectant goes that high. Because if you got a heat protectant that only goes up to 300 and you're pressing at 450, you know, you've burned the cookies. So you need something that's going to protect your hair. You know what I'm saying? So make sure your heat
Mhm,
protectant covers the temperature that you're using when you're pressing your hair, and try not to do a bunch of passes on your hair, meaning, constantly pressing over it and over it. Once you press it, if you press it one really good time, try and do things and tie it down at night and whatnot so you don't have to constantly put that heat in it. A lot of
mhm,
times when I press my hair, and if I wear it like that for like a week or two, I may only put the flat iron to my hair 3 times in that whole time. And not even like hard heat, meaning like the first time I may go hot and make sure I get it really pressed. After that, it's kind of like at a medium heat, just to maybe knock some of the kink out, say if my edges or something are puffing up. But
mhm,
press your hair, but just be gentle and use a heat protectant every time.
mhm.
And I can't suggest the heat protectant because there's so many.
No, you don't have to. You don't have to. You don't have to suggest
Okay. It would just depend on what.
it. But you gave some good advice, and I know some women gonna like hearing this as well.
Okay, well, good. Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, we have come down to the end of this interview. The last
Okay.
question is going to be, what motivates you to achieve any of your goals in life?
Helping youngsters not to make the same mistakes I did. So again, when the Guinness thing first came out, my motivation was the little girls, and I will say it to
Hmm.
the end of, because if they don't have to go through the stuff that we as older women go through, then I feel like that's just a couple of things less that they have to deal with, because there's so many other things to worry about in life. So, and also helping people to achieve finding their happiness through just who they are and what they naturally look like.
Hmm. Oh, okay. That's a good way. So you want to help the next generation.
Yes, yes. And it's working because it's not just me, it's a whole bunch of, the whole natural hair movement. I went to speak at a school a couple of months
Hmm.
ago when I asked the little girls, and it was a bunch of them, like maybe 15. So how many of y'all natural? It was on, I mean, have a perm. And it
Hmm.
was like only two little girls. One still had a perm and the other one had a perm, and then she went back natural. That's huge. When I was younger, that just wasn't a thing. Everybody had a perm.
Hmm.
So it's working. Whatever all the natural hair lovies are doing, we're doing it. It's
Hmm.
working. And there's much more acceptance from everyone in our community as far as natural hair. The fellas are not giving the ladies hard times anymore.
Hmm.
Everybody whole natural hair thing. The
Hmm.
questions are getting aren't as intrusive now, and it's more a compliment more than like you don't get those nice nasty looks anymore. People are
Hmm.
liking. So I think whatever we're doing it, we need to keep doing it until we can't do it no more.
Hmm. Yes,
Hmm.
that does make a lot of sense, and I agree with that as well. One other thing is, I want to know these products that you're creating. I know they're for women, but are you thinking about creating some for men as well?
No, the products are for men and women because it's a like right now it's a butter. You can put a
Oh,
butter.
okay.
My dad uses it. I have uses it in her salon on men and women. No, it's for because it doesn't have a scent. It's just
Mhm,
naturally scented. What I make it with. So it's for men and women. Yeah, it's not something that's only for women, and all the products will be for men and women because I know everybody, we're all looking for that holy grail, you
yeah.
know. And
Mhm,
even though I know everybody may not like what it is, I'm gonna try to where, it helps just a
mhm,
little bit. It just helps a little bit more in the process of dealing with your hair. So it's for
mhm,
men and women. The t-shirts may be considered, I have some merch on there. I have put my hats, logo hats with they're lined with satin on the inside, a male or female, because it's just a black, hat
mhm,
cap, like a baseball cap, and it just has the AD logo on it. So that's male, female. The Afro picks, male, female, because men and women need Afro picks. I made sure to make one that looked technically what someone consider more masculine, but to me, they go in between masculine, feminine. Detangling brush. I mean, anybody can use that in the toiletry bag. I have my guy friend. He has his clippers in it, so it's all male and female. It's it's for
mhm.
everybody.
Well, that's a good thing. That really is a good thing that the products could be used by anybody.
Oh yeah, yeah. Because I even know guys who put it in their beard. So because it's one of those things you can use it for so many things. I've used it
Mhm,
on my because it's a butter, and I've
mhm.
used it on So it's just wherever you want to slap it. Really, you can grease your legs with it if you want to. It's a butter, so you use it. It's
Uh-huh,
not tied to one thing specifically. It has
yeah.
many and plenty.
Mhm.
Hmm.
It's just good for the skin overall, like, in other words, for your hair when you're moisturizing your
Yes,
hair.
yeah.
Mhm, yeah.
Yeah, it's good for, and not because oils and butters don't necessarily moisturize. Some of them do lock in moisture, but
Mhm,
it definitely helps with softening the hair because what I do is I hot oil treat with my butters. I put it on my scalp, I grease my scalp with it, I put it on my hair, and then I put a plastic cap and wear it for like a day or two, put my hair in a head wrap so that he
mhm,
can really, my scalp and really get all of that going. And then I
mhm,
shampoo, which sounds crazy, but just like a hot oil treatment, you shampoo it out afterwards and then you go on and style your hair. And my hair just feels so good afterwards.
mhm.
So, and again, male or female can do that. You know?
Well, do you have anything in the future you're working on for your business that you would like to do in the future?
You know, I do. I did start on a book and I started on it years ago randomly. So I want to finish the book and maybe, not maybe, and do like a book tour so I can
Oh,
go around to people about natural hair because I feel like it's not just me. All of us have our natural hair stories to tell, when it comes to going natural or going back to natural from, when we had perms and whatnot. But I just want to share mine because I remember so much about my hair that I feel like me being here right now, it was supposed to happen because I
Mhm.
remember so much about from my first perm to the second perm to the third perm to everything in between. So I'm gonna share that with people and then go on a tour and talk to people. And we just kiki and exchange stories and talk about, the stuff that we went through with natural hair. Because it's another one of those things that us, women we can bond about, women and
Mhm.
men.
Yes.
And talk
uh,
about because we all had our experiences when it comes to, just being African American in general and all the
mhm.
things that come with it. One of those things is our hair.
Yeah, that is true. Mhm.
Hmm. Hmm.
Well, Aevin Dugas, I enjoyed interviewing you today on Consulting Between Friends podcast. Before we go, can you let my listeners know how they can contact you?
They can find me anywhere. And let me just say this first. Thank you so much for having me and asking me. And thank you for being patient enough to wait for us to get together and do this. I really enjoyed myself. You can
Thank you.
find me, Aevin Duga, on Instagram, on TikTok, on Facebook. On Twitter, I am Aevin Jude. And that's because I had Twitter before the whole Guinness thing, and I didn't know that I was going to have to keep everything the same. And in
Mhm.
order to just keep my Twitter going, I don't think I was able to change the name. I don't know. Maybe I can do that now. But everything, pretty much Aevin Duga. You can go on my website, Aevin Duga, to check me out. But for my merchandise, it's on Kim Hairstry, www.kim, HAIRSTRY.com. And that's kimhairstry.com. And that's where you can find the satin line cap, which when I press my hair, I will be traveling with that because it's satin lined, so it keeps your hair moisturized and it keeps that friction from breaking your hair. So, mhm.
Well, Ava, I enjoyed interviewing you today on Consulting Between Friends podcast, and I have learned a lot about your journey, being in the Guinness Book of World Records, and learning about your business as well. Do you have anything else you'd like to say?
I just want to say thank y'all to everyone who has followed, who has supported me from way back to up till now. I appreciate all the kind words. I may not see them all the time. I may not be able to answer them all the time, but I really do appreciate all the kind words. And let's just keep it going with the natural hair movement and the movement of loving upon each other as the African American community, because, we have to stick together.
Mhm. And I do agree with that. You do have to stick together. We do have to stick together with our natural hair
Yes.
because it's the thing right now. And I ain't gonna
Yeah.
lie, I'm a guy. I like seeing it because they got
I'm
some
glad
good
y'all like
styles
it.
out there.
I know, right? I, I was looking today and I saw somebody, this girl did a rod set, and I wanted to put up a post like, we're not playing when it comes to this natural hair. I mean, these styles are perfection, absolute perfection. Like, you know, child, please don't play with us. Don't do it.
Well, once again, Ava, I enjoy interviewing you on Consulting Between Friends podcast, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you so much, Michael. Talk to you soon.
Thank you. After a short break, we will return. We are back. In closing, I hope this information was valuable to my listeners on the Guinness World Record holder, Ava Dugas. Ava gave great insight into how she was chosen to be in the Guinness World Records and what she has learned in the process. Also, she explained why natural hairstyles are important to her and why she wants to educate others on the subject. I am glad I had the opportunity to interview Ava Dugas and learn more about her overall. One last thing, remember to support local businesses, and choosing to be at your full potential will drive you to be successful. Thank you for listening to Consulting Between Friends. This podcast is available on Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Apple Podcasts, as well other platforms that are available. So like and subscribe. Need to contact us and leave us a comment? You can find us on Instagram at consulting the letter B friends. Once again, consulting B friends. An email address is consulting the letter B friends at gmail.com. Once again, consulting B friends at gmail.com. Consulting Between Friends now has a merch online store called Podcast Merch Headquarters. This is where you can buy merch to show your support for the podcast. Some items to choose from are t-shirts, tumblers, and hoodies, as well many other things I know you will appreciate. So take the time to review the items in the store. The link will be available in the podcast notes under Podcast Merch Headquarters. Consulting Between Friends appreciates the constant support. It means a lot. If you would like to support the podcast more, you can find me on Patreon at Consulting Be Friends. Once again, at Consulting Be Friends. The link will be in the description. Consulting Between Friends now has a way for listeners to share their feedback about the podcast. The listeners can now share their feedback on Discord. The link will be available in the podcast notes and on the podcast website. Thanks again for the support. If you have an extra minute, it would be greatly appreciated if you could answer a few questions regarding the quality of the podcast. The link will be in the description. Consulting Between Friends. Thanks to everyone for making this possible. The host, Michael Holmes Jr., the producer and content creator, Michael Holmes Jr., the artwork cover, Michael Holmes Jr., original music, a DJ name Slash, special guest, Ava Dugas, Guinness World Record holder for having the largest female afro, founder of Chemistry Hair Care, content distributor, My Producer Podcasts,